On a seemingly ordinary day, in February 2025, something extraordinary happened in the depths of the southern Indian Ocean. Autonomous subsea vehicles, unmanned machines exploring the ocean floor, detected something that stopped investigators dead in their tracks. An unusual sonar reflection, a shadow on the screen that didn't belong. A signal that changed everything we thought we knew. After 11 years of mystery, after countless theories and dead ends, after families held on to hope when hope seemed lost, after the world moved on but never quite forgot, the ocean was about to give up its secrets. This is the story of MH370. This is the story of one of history's greatest mysteries. And we finally know what happened. We finally know the truth. The 8th of March 2014. It was a date that would change aviation forever. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, carrying 239 people, passengers, and crew took off from Kuala Lumpur, bound for Beijing. It was supposed to be a routine flight, just another aircraft crossing the sky, just another day in the lives of 239 people who were simply trying to reach their destination, but they never arrived. Somewhere over the South China Sea, the plane disappeared from radar. No distress call, no explanation, just gone. Vanished. The aircraft simply ceased to exist in the eyes of air traffic control. It was as if the sky had swallowed it whole. What followed was the largest and most expensive aviation search in history. For years, investigators searched. Ships combed the waters. Satellites scanned the skies. Experts analyzed every piece of data, every fragment of evidence, every theory that emerged. But the disappearance of MH370 became more than just a tragedy. It became a puzzle that seemed unsolvable, an enigma wrapped in mystery. Were they victims of mechanical failure? A catastrophic malfunction that crippled the aircraft? Was it terrorism? A hijacking gone wrong? Or was it something darker, something deliberate? The official investigations found scattered debris, conflicting data, and more questions than answers. Pieces of the plane washed ashore on distant shores, each one a cruel reminder that somewhere in that vast ocean lay the answers everyone was desperate to find. Families waited. They waited for news. They waited for closure. They waited for someone to tell them what happened to their loved ones. The world watched. Media outlets covered every lead, every theory, every discovery, but nothing seemed to stick. Nothing seemed to answer the fundamental question: what happened to MH370? The Indian Ocean kept its silence. For over a decade, it held its secrets close, refusing to give them up. And as years passed, MH370 became more than just a news story. It became a ghost story. A modern-day mystery that captivated the imagination of millions and haunted the families left behind. But in 2025, after 11 long years of waiting and searching, everything changed. Everything we thought we knew was about to be challenged. Ocean Infiniti, a company specializing in deep-sea exploration using cutting-edge autonomous vehicles, deployed their submersibles to conduct surveys of the southern Indian Ocean. These weren't ordinary submarines. These were technological marvels, unmanned vehicles equipped with advanced sonar systems, artificial intelligence algorithms that could detect anomalies that human eyes might miss, and sensors so sensitive they could identify the smallest disturbances on the ocean floor. These machines were designed to explore the most hostile underwater environments on Earth. Depths where pressure would crush a human instantly. Darkness so complete that light itself seems like a memory. These autonomous vehicles were built to go where humans couldn't, to see what humans couldn't, to discover what humans had been searching for. And then, in February 2025, they found it. The sonar came back with something that made everyone stop, something that made their hearts race, an anomaly. A reflection pattern that suggested something large, something structured, something engineered, something that definitely did not belong on a natural ocean floor. A shape, a form, something that looked like an aircraft. The discovery sent shockwaves through the investigation, through Ocean Infinity, through the media, through the families who had been waiting for answers for over a decade, after years of false leads and dashed hopes, after theories that led nowhere and searches that came up empty. Could this finally be it? Could this finally be the breakthrough that would unlock the mystery? The world held its breath, and investigators knew that this moment could change everything. But this discovery wasn't just about finding wreckage. Finding a structure on the ocean floor was one thing, but understanding what it meant that required looking at evidence that had been hidden in the data all along. Evidence that no one had fully understood until now. Researchers went back and re-examined everything, every piece of data, every signal, every electromagnetic pattern, and they focused on something called WSPR signals, a worldwide low-power radio network that captures and logs electromagnetic transmissions. These signals are recorded constantly, automatically, all over the world, and they had been recording on the 8th of March 2014, the day MH370 disappeared. When researchers reanalyzed these WSPR signals in the hours MH370 went missing using new computational methods and artificial intelligence, they found something that made their blood run cold. Controlled directional shifts. Not random drift. Not the erratic, chaotic pattern of a plane in distress, tumbling through the sky. Not the signature of an accident or mechanical failure. Deliberate maneuvers. Calculated changes in direction, precise adjustments that suggested one thing. Someone was flying that plane. Someone was at the controls. Someone was making decisions about where it would go. But there was more, far more. Investigators also re-examined the flight data recorder, the black box, using advanced analytical methods that had become available since 2014. The black box had been analyzed countless times over the years, but with new computational power and new algorithms, researchers could see patterns that had been invisible before, and what they found was shocking. Continuous manual inputs, right up until the end. Not autopilot doing the work, not a ghost flight, as some had theorized, not a plane flying on its own through empty sky. Human hands. Real human hands were on the controls. Every input, every adjustment, every turn, every change in altitude, every modification to the flight path. It was deliberate. It was guided. It was chosen. The data showed that someone was actively flying that aircraft. Someone who knew what they were doing. Someone who was making conscious decisions about the plane's course and trajectory. Not a moment of panic. Not a desperate struggle. Control. Calculated, deliberate control. This changed everything. Every theory about accident or catastrophic failure was obliterated. Every hope that this was somehow not deliberate was erased. The data was unambiguous. Someone flew that plane into the southern Indian Ocean, and they did so intentionally. For years, investigators had debated whether MH370 was a controlled crash or a tragic accident. The new data answered that question with brutal, undeniable clarity. It was controlled. Someone knew exactly what they were doing. Every shift in direction, every adjustment to altitude, every maneuver recorded in that flight data recorder, it was intentional. This wasn't the signature of someone panicking. This wasn't the desperate action of someone trying to save a failing aircraft. This was purposeful. This was deliberate. This was planned. But this revelation opened an entirely new door. A door that led to a question that seems even darker than before. Why? Why would someone do this? What would drive a person to disappear 239 human beings and themselves into the vast, cold emptiness of the ocean? What could possibly motivate such an act? The investigation has faced enormous challenges in trying to answer that question. First, there's the challenge of the environment itself. The southern Indian Ocean is one of the most hostile, most remote places on Earth. Finding anything down there requires advanced technology that's expensive, Technology that's difficult to operate in such extreme conditions. Technology that's still being developed and refined. Second, there's the challenge of the evidence. Finding a structure on the ocean floor is one thing, but recovering it, examining it, extracting the data and the answers from it, that's entirely different. And then there's the matter of fresh data, new information, new evidence that could break the case wide open and finally answer the questions that have haunted us for so long. The investigation continues with renewed urgency. Search efforts have been ramped up, resources have been allocated, experts from around the world have been brought in to help, because everyone understands that we're close now, so very close. But there's one piece of evidence that remains elusive, one small box that could provide the answers to everything: the cockpit voice recorder. That orange box, small enough to hold in your hand, contains the final conversations, the final words, the final moments. It contains the explanation, it contains the answer to the why that has haunted us for over a decade. It's the key to understanding not just what happened, but why someone would do this, why someone would make the choices that led to this tragedy. And it's still out there, somewhere in the depths of the southern Indian Ocean, waiting to be found, waiting to tell us what really happened in those final hours. The structure detected by Ocean Infiniti's autonomous vehicles, this massive shape on the ocean floor, has raised hopes that we're finally close, closer than we've ever been, close enough to reach out and touch the answers we've been searching for. For the families who lost loved ones on that flight, for those 2, 3, 9 people who simply disappeared one day, this discovery means something profound. It means their relatives didn't vanish without a trace into nothing. It means there's physical evidence. It means there's something to find, something to examine, something that can tell their stories. It means they might finally get answers, real answers. Answers that have been denied to them for 11 long years. They've waded through every false lead. They've endured every disappointing discovery that turned out to be nothing. They've held on to hope when hope seemed foolish. And now, finally, that hope might be justified. It means the people they love won't remain forever in limbo, suspended between reality and speculation, between what they hope happened and what they fear happened. It means closure might actually be possible. It means that the mystery that has haunted the world might finally be solved. The investigation continues with unprecedented intensity. Researchers are analyzing every piece of data that has ever been collected. They're exploring every possibility. They're preparing for the deep-sea dive that could change everything. Every sonar reading is being scrutinized. Every signal is being analyzed. Every piece of physical evidence is being examined by some of the world's leading experts in aviation, oceanography, engineering, and investigation. The ocean has guarded its secrets for so long. For over a decade, it has kept MH370 hidden in its depths. But it seems like finally, it might be ready to give up those secrets. Finally, the truth might come to light. But as we get closer to answers, the mystery of MH370 only deepens, because knowing what happened and knowing why are two entirely different things. Wreckage on the ocean floor. The structure that Ocean Infiniti discovered, it tells us how. It tells us about control and direction and deliberate choices, but it doesn't tell us why. The flight data recorder tells us about the controls. It tells us that someone was at the controls, but it doesn't tell us about the heart and mind behind those controls. It doesn't tell us the motivation. It doesn't tell us the story that led to this moment. What we know for certain is this: 239 people vanished. 239 lives interrupted. 239 families changed forever. A plane disappeared from the sky. And for over a decade, the world waited. The families waited. Investigators searched. And the Indian Ocean kept its silence. Until now, the investigation continues. The search continues. The race to recover the cockpit voice recorder continues. Somewhere in the cold, dark depths of the southern Indian Ocean, where sunlight has never reached, where pressure would crush anything human, where time moves differently than it does up here on the surface. Somewhere down there, the final chapter of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 is waiting to be read. We're close. We're finally, after all these years, so very close. And the world is waiting. The families are waiting. The investigators are waiting. And soon, we might finally have answers. The mystery of MH370 is about to be solved.